Hello, my name is Kanjana Thepboriruk. I'm an associate professor of Thai language at Northern Illinois University. My presentation is going to discuss how to use oral history or oral history project as part of your heritage language pedagogy. A quick overview of what I will cover in the presentation. Thai as a heritage language learners is the largest group of Thai language learners in the United States. And Thai heritage language learning happens entirely in community-based weekend schools. Of course, they are also found in university level classes in differentiated or hopefully differentiated classrooms. There are more than 30 Thai heritage language community-based schools in the United States. And here I have to thank Tommy, part of the board of the coalition, who asked me this very question: how many schools are there that teach Thai language in the United States? As I am the Thai language representative, I did not have the answer. So I conducted a survey, a nationwide survey, and found that there are more than 30, depending on the year and how active they are, Thai language schools that are community-based weekend schools. My project is titled Thais in Illinois Oral History Project. And this came to be as a result of the survey that I took and the interviews that I conducted with different stakeholders at various community-based schools. I asked them, what was the one thing that you really need help with? What are you struggling with that I perhaps can help? And they said, well, we really start losing our learners in late middle school and high school as they start to focus on university-oriented tasks. And the Thai language became something that was not part of that. They also start to lose interest in the content that's being taught in the school. So I thought up this project as a way to engage with our older learners, so this is age 13 to 17, and to something that would also teach them research skills, interviewing skills, other professional skills that can go into their CV, because that's something that they are thinking about and it's important to them. The Thai Oral History Project really came from this quote that is often attributed to Marcus Garvey, one of the leading African American scholars. It says, "A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." And I think that really encompasses my attitude on what oral history is and the importance of it in all of our communities. So the goals of the project is, one, to engage, right, to meet the requests and demands of the community schools, to engage with tweens and teens at our weekend schools. It's also to foster intergenerational interactions, right? Oftentimes the kids don't know what to talk about with their grandparents or their uncles or aunties or anyone older or their parents' age. It's also to collect oral histories and cultural ephemera from first-generation Thai immigrants. So we first came after the passing of the Hart-Celler Act, or the Immigration and Nationalization Act of 1965. As such, that first generation are either have already died, are sick, have dementia, or they've all moved back to Thailand. And if we don't quickly collect all of their stories, we're going to lose a lot of our history of what it was like for Thai immigrants to first arrive and make a life in the United States. At the same time, I was asked by UCLA and the Center for Asian American Studies there to write the Thai American history chapter for their upcoming online textbook. And as I started to do research for that, I found that there was nothing on Thai Americans. So I myself had to do oral history research in order to write this chapter about Thai Americans as a community in the United States. So these two projects were happening at the same time. Another goal was to create a digital and physical collection of early Thai America, right? What did people bring with them? What type of pictures were captured on the early days? What did celebrations look like before we had temples, right? Before we had grocery stores in the United States that sold Thai ingredients. And this last part was really inspired by SADA, the South Asian American Digital Archive. They've done a tremendous job. If you haven't heard of them, please look them up. They have this amazing, impactful project called First Days, where they collect stories about everybody's first day. Because for those of us who arrived in the United States, it was such a memorable day that we can remember how it smelled. I can remember what my airplane seat felt like, right? And I was only 9 years old. So please do support SADA and visit their website and see what they have been able to do with their project in order to give you and your community some ideas of some of the possibilities in oral history and community advocacy. My dream, of course, is to create a Thai American digital archive so that I can have a website called Tada, where I can, present the findings that me and the students have collected as a Tada moment, if you will. So if you have any funders out there who want to support Tada, please let me know. I divided the oral history project into four main parts: collecting of cultural items, and that includes personal photos, newsletters, and notes; collecting of interviews of first generation. So these are founders of organizations, founders of churches and temples, and our elders. It also includes research, both online to look at the social media footprint for newer organizations, and also documents, right? So some of our churches and some of our temples have these reading rooms that's a collection and piles of papers. And there's a wealth of information about our history, our community's history in these piles of paper. So that's part of the project. It also includes sharing what we find later on, right? We're not going to want to do all of this if it goes nowhere and it doesn't come to anything. So I was very lucky to be able to partner with the Chicago Public Library to do a touring exhibit at various locations about Thais in the Chicagoland area. And just in case you're wondering how oral history can relate to language skills, or what type of language skills can be taught or learned or practiced as part of the collection oral history, I'll show you some examples. So for interpretive reading, right, I mentioned the piles of paper in our reading rooms and in the libraries of these institutions in Thai America. So this is an example of a handwritten advertisement that was put into a temple newsletter in 1972. I've digitized this in high resolution. And this is something that we can use in a language class, right? So oftentimes our students do not know how to read handwriting Thai. They've only been looking at screens while growing up. But this is also a small bite-sized research project, right? So Siam Groceries, Bangkok Groceries, and also Rot Det Restaurant, which is on the bottom half of this ad, are one of the earlier Thai American businesses in the Chicagoland area. So using their interpretive reading skills, they can answer questions like, what time was this restaurant open? What type of products did they offer? What was on their menu, right? Where was this restaurant located? And what type of things would you be able to find there? So this is a very clear language exercise that you can do as part of the research, right? And this is something that our students catalog. So here's this restaurant that was opened in 1972, and here are the items that are on their menu. Here are their business hours and their phone number at the time, right? Very clear interpretive reading project. You can also work on interpersonal speaking skills through interviews, right? So depending on your student language, abilities, they can either do a full interview for those more advanced users of the Thai language, or some of my students were more comfortable creating a survey that they distributed to the members of the temple, members of their community. Right, so this is language skill differentiated for different types of learners. So I also had students in the project who didn't quite have enough Thai language skills to even come up with a survey or conduct an interview. But what they were able to do was brainstorm questions and things that we want to know about the Thai language community or the Thai community. And then they worked with their friend and classmate who had more language proficiency to create grammatically correct language and questions for the survey and for the interviews. Lastly, the presentational writing. And this comes in for those who have even more advanced or less advanced language skills. So there's a group of students who want to create a website to share the things that we are working on, that we are collecting. So I put really advanced Thai language users in with very not advanced Thai language users. They design the website together. And the advanced language user is providing the Thai version of the website, Thai version of the text, and the less advanced students are creating the English language template for the website. So everybody can have a role and every language skill is welcomed. The Ties in Illinois Oral History Project is funded by the Henry Luce Foundation, and this was a grant that was sponsored by the Center for Southeast Asian Studies at Northern Illinois University, where I am a research affiliate. And for the grant, I wrote a 5-year plan. The first year was to educate the community and teens about oral history. The second year, we did classroom instruction for the language and oral history interview, brainstorm with the teens of how to share information. And right now, we're in our third year. We're collecting interviews and historical documentations. I'm working with my campus anthropological museum and the library to digitize and store the materials that we are collecting. Next year, we are going to transcribe the interviews, and I'll work with my advanced Thai language students in the university classes to translate and transcribe as part of our language pedagogy there, and then preparation for the exhibit. Part of year 4 is also a workshop for K-12 teachers to be able to use the information about Thai Americans to fulfill the mandate of the TEACH Act. The TEACH Act requires that K through 12 education includes the history of Asian American communities. And then the last year is sharing with the public, and it's our exhibit, a co-exhibit with the Chicago Public Library and NIU Museum. How did we end up partnering with the Chicago Public Library? I brainstormed, right, in year 2 with the students, asking them where they would eventually want to share all of this information that we are going to be collecting. I suggested the consulate and perhaps some Thai business, and they really rejected my ideas. They said, Thai people already know that Thai people exist. We don't need to have an exhibit for other Thai people. They wanted, and I quote, randos to learn about the Thai community. So we try to think about maybe a coffee shop, maybe something, and somebody, I couldn't remember who exactly, kind of shouted, what about the library? And I approached the Chicago Public Library with our idea. They were really happy about it because the libraries always have rotating exhibits, and to suggest that we would come and do one for them without them really having to pay or work on it, it was a win-win situation for both sides. So I'm really looking forward to our partnership with them. So as you're thinking about how to do this project for your students and your communities, I really encourage you to contact your local libraries because they will be so happy to work with you to do an exhibit and even educational materials, right, for their patrons to learn more about your community. So some things to consider as you're formulating ideas for an oral history project. So first, think of a goal, right, and how you need to get there. And as educators, we want to do backward design. So, what do you want to use to showcase the project, right? Is it going to be a mini documentary? Is it a website? Is it an exhibit, a permanent exhibit at your school? So for us, the students wanted to share our stories with as many people as possible, but they also knew that their skill set did not include filmmaking. So at least it's the exhibit and a website, Google website, right, that they all know how to make. And somebody even came up with an idea of a podcast once we get enough information to do kind of a limited series podcast. So this is all their ideas. And once we figured out what we wanted to do at the end, I had to do backward design and say, okay, how do I educate folks who are going to be interviewed about what oral history is? And the obstacle that I did not anticipate when recruiting is that going up against the Thai Buddhist worldview of nothing is permanent, we don't need to be recorded, this life is temporary, it was really hard to convince folks that it was worthwhile to record their story and that their stories are important to us and to future generations of Thai Americans. It took me 2 years to, I think, convince everyone that this is a worthwhile project, a lot longer than I anticipated. But I think we're there with enough elders that we can collect enough stories for our project. So then we have to recruit them, right? Who do we interview and who will do the interviewing? So the students can, if their grandparents are first generation, they can interview their own grandparents, which some people did, or we can match them with an elder who's willing to be interviewed as part of the project. And then I trained them how to do interviews, right? So the training was done entirely in English. I just did a module on the Google Classroom with English language comprehension questions and a video quiz. And then once they understood what interviewing was, what oral history was, then we worked on the language skills that would be needed to complete those tasks. And then lastly, identify your community partners, whoever they may be. And that is it for my presentation. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or want more information about this project or need some help getting your project started, please do feel free to email me at my first name at niu.edu. Thank you so much.